So this is some statistics that to scale, I think, Democrats in the future. So there's a lot of states where voters registrations Democrats lead, but the lead is shrinking in some of these states. So Florida, of course, we know that Republicans now have a majority of registered voters in Florida. Florida and New York are the two fastest, going away states for the Democrats. By number of raw voters. But then we have states like Pennsylvania and North Carolina. So Pennsylvania and North Carolina, the Republicans have gained a net difference of around 100,000 voters. Pennsylvania may no longer become a blue state by the end of this decade. You had the state of Nevada, where they gained 37,000 voters, and Democrats barely won the state. Nevada has around 55,000, as we all know, as I explained, has a 55 vote, around 53,000 vote advantage for the Democrats. Okay, but now we're seeing that from November 2020 to October 8th, in Nevada, Republicans have gained 37,000 votes. So let's assume that 2022 to 2024, Republicans gain another 47,000 votes. People, registered voters. Okay, yay, Democrats only have 23,000 voter advantage. That would be very bad in the state of Nevada, because in many states, the petty registration in places like Arizona have increased for Republicans, despite, the results not really showing as well. But places like New Jersey are going away as well. New Jersey, 67,000 for New Jersey. Colorado is the only place that's really... Colorado and California are the only places that are really going for Democrats as well. As well. But a lot of these states, like Kentucky and these states here, Florida, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Iowa, New Jersey, Nevada, Kansas, Oregon, and Colorado. Okay, Florida, as a state, okay, is no longer a toss-up or a swing state. It is a safe Republican state. Okay, Pennsylvania has around a 500,000 voter advantage in Pennsylvania, and this is what Republicans really need to get the independents to vote for them, because they're gonna have to try to overcome the 500,000 voter gap in Pennsylvania. They're gonna have to overcome this 500,000 voter gap in Pennsylvania as well. North Carolina is only around 100,000, 200,000. Is why Republicans can win in North Carolina. Same for Iowa. Iowa is now a majority Republican state. Same thing with Florida. But places like New Jersey, you're really gonna have to win independence over New York. I think Republicans need to continue trending in that state with registered voters and as well. And New York is a state that is trending towards GOP. Same thing with New Jersey as well. And all of these states, except for Kansas, and Colorado, are trending towards the Republicans. Oregon, 10,000, Nevada, 47,000, New Jersey, 71,000, North Carolina, 116,342, Pennsylvania, 146,000, and Florida, 396,000. Unfortunately, we don't have voter registration for every state in the country. Some states do not register, like Texas, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, much to the south. But a lot of these states, except for the exception of Kansas, Colorado, and California. So if eventually the trends continue in these states... Here we have another one. Kentucky is bad, and West Virginia. That those states are no surprise. We also have Oklahoma, Idaho, Rhode Island, Utah, South Dakota. Most of these are red states. Republicans are gaining red states. No one surprising. Arizona has not really gained too much, which is very concerning, I think, for GOP in Arizona, because really it's a Republican state that should be gaining massively in Arizona. But again, Arizona's another state that's really up to independence. Same thing with Pennsylvania, and same thing with of course, North Carolina. You really have to win independence in those states. Same thing with Florida, but most of the independents in Florida now are flipping towards the GOP as well. You also have New York as well, which we talked about. New York is actually gaining with the Republicans massively. 223,000 voters for the past 2 years. While California is going the opposite direction. So the only states that are truly trending Democrat in terms of registered voters is Kansas, California, and Colorado. That is very bad news for Democrats. Okay, they may have did pretty well these midterms, but this is very bad news for anyone who is a Democrat. Kentucky, of course, most of these Republican states are not too surprising, but places like Rhode Island are trending Republican. Places like New York, New Jersey. New York almost elected a Republican governor. New Jersey did as well. Okay, this is very, very bad news for Democrats. They really only gain in 3 states to have voter registration available. I wish that more states have voter registration available. It would make it much more easier. For example, Louisiana, that's a red state. I don't know why that's a Democrat. That must be ancestral Dems in Louisiana. Okay, ancestral Dems leading in Louisiana. Most of them, probably that's more Republican. Most of them probably vote Republican in Louisiana. I think it's probably the same thing of Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, and even Texas. There's probably still a lot of ancestral Dems that vote Republican, even though they're still registered as Democrats. And they just did not update the party registration. But yeah, a lot of these states like Nevada, okay, CCM or Cortez Masto barely won the Senate thing. Okay, so he only won because of independence. Okay, but her next election, she's not going to win if Republicans gain by another 38,000 voters. Okay, she's going to lose by like 20,000. So you have to try to outreach some more independents, and that could be very, very hard to do. Much more harder if there's 30,000 more Republicans in Nevada. Okay. Same for Pennsylvania. If there's another 150,000 more Republicans in Pennsylvania, it's gonna be much harder for Fetterman to win a second term, because it'll be 4 years, and they'll gain 280,000 people in Pennsylvania if these trends continue. Of course, if these trends continue in these states, because Pennsylvania used to have 1 million plus registered voters at 2010, and it went down to 500,000 within a decade, which means by the end of this decade it will be a Republican state. By the end of this decade, it could become a Republican state. Florida had around 600,000, and it's now a Republican state. Okay, North Carolina is going to become a Republican majority state as well. And Iowa's already. But yeah, but Pennsylvania's numbers should scale Democrats, because yes, they won because Dr. Oz was a very strong candidate. But by the end of this decade, Pennsylvania should have more registered Republicans than Democrats, which means Democrats really have to try to focus on independent voters and win them over, kind of like how Republicans had to do for Trump to win. Trump actually won with 800,000 Pennsylvania voter advantage, and now it's down to 500,000 voter advantage for Democrats. Okay, which means, let's look at Pennsylvania's. So Pennsylvania's results, yeah, it basically mirrors registered voters. It mirrors the registered voters, which is pretty funny. It literally mirrors the registered voters thing. It literally mirrors registered voters. Okay, which means there's around at least 400 to 500,000 more Democrats than there are Republicans. But once by 2030 the Republicans catch up to Democrats in Pennsylvania, it's over for the Democrats in this state. It's over. They're not gonna win. It's gonna be much harder. Pennsylvania could very well be the Democrats, Arizona, basically. Trump won it, then Democrats won it since then, but it's going to become the Democrats' Arizona, okay? The Democrats will be wondering, why are we losing Pennsylvania now? Why are we losing the state? Why are we losing? Because there's more Republicans than Democrats in the state. And that's basically all this video here. Goodbye.